Now, two last things that we want to do before we end off this tutorial is, first of all, I'm just going to quickly play this animation so that it buffers down here and it can play a lot smoother. Okay, now that it's buffered, if we look at the animation, what we want it to do is basically when the wind kicks in, we want the rope right here and the flag to move a little bit towards the right because the wind is pushing it, and the rope wouldn't just stay this straight, it would move a little bit. So if you look at it right now, what we need to do is basically go to the frame where the flag is about to be pulled. So about right here, around right here, so frame 170, I'm going to check also what frame it ends at. So frame 170 to about frame 200. So let's go to frame 170, select the rope, and we're going to add shape keys to this also, just like we did with the lattice. Going down here, select shape key, add new, we're going to leave the basis like it is. Add a new shape key, we'll name this one rope movement. And we're going to go into edit mode, select, I'm going to deselect this one which includes the back faces so that I can select all of the vertices, even the ones in the back. And I'm going to select everything that is going to move forward. So all of this, and turn off the proportional editing also, so disable. Hit G, X, and just move it out. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit here so that you could see exactly what's happening. And I'm going to exaggerate these even more right here. Alright, so I'm going to really exaggerate it. So now we have a shape key that does this. And what I want to do now is basically select the flag also, or no, go back to the rope, and on frame 170, hit I to insert a keyframe for that, and then at around frame 200, we're going to bring this to a value of 1, or you could bring it lower if you want. You could also change this value. Right now the max is at 1, but you could put it at 4 so that you could bring it out even further and you don't have to remove the vertices in edit mode. You could just change the values here. So that's very useful. You could also do minus, so if you want to go the other direction, just type in -1 and you could go the other way. But for now, I'm just going to put it around here and hit I to insert the keyframe. Now what we want to do is go back to frame 170, because now that this has moved, you will see that the rings and the flag are still here. And that's no good because we want it to move with the rope. So going to frame 170, I'm going to select all 3 of these rings right here and hit Ctrl J to make them one object. So I'm going to select these and the flag and hit I, location, and then go to frame 200, which is where our rope stops going out. Hit G, X, and move it along the X-axis so that the rope and the flag is in between the rings, and hit I, location. Now I'm going to go back to the beginning and let it play so that it buffers. Now if I play, you can see that at frame 170, you will see that the rope and the flag are pushed out as if they're being pulled by the wind. And you can even animate this value right here of the rope movement to make it go back in and out so that's even more realistic. So now one of the last things that we're going to do is we're going to add all the rocks or the pebbles that jump out of the ground from when the pole crashes into it. To do that, I'm just going to hit Shift left arrow to go back to the beginning. I'm going to select the ground plane and hit Shift D to copy it. I'm going to go over here to the object data and name this one rocks or pebbles. Hit tab to go into edit mode, and now what we want to do is, if you haven't already selected all the center vertices or the center edge loops of your cracks, then hit Control I to inverse it and hit X and delete those faces. So now you should have basically only the crack lines. What we're going to do with this object is basically emit the pebbles from this. So hit G, Z, and bring it right under the ground plane. And now we're going to add a pebble object. So hit Shift A, Shift S, cursor is selected so that my object is added right here. Shift A, Mesh, and Icosphere. I'm going to hit T to bring up the options for this and make it subdivision 1. And hit Smooth. I'm going to scale this down. Hit Control A to apply the scale. And now with this crack object that we just created, go to the particle system, add new particle. It's going to be an emitter. Now go down here and we're going to be emitting an object, and the object is going to be Icosphere. So go here, type in Ico, and select Icosphere. Now if I hit Alt A, and let me move these to layer 2 for now so that we could play the animation a lot faster without the flag having to go in the background. So if I hit Alt A, you can see all the rocks being added right here. Problem is that they're going the wrong way and they're very, very tiny. So to change that, let's increase the size right here. And also the random value, which is going to add random variations of size. Now you don't want to go all the way to 1, or else there will be some rocks that are pretty much invisible. So just go right under that to something 0.9 something. And I'm also going to change the number of pebbles to 200. And we also want it to emit up, which is the positive Z-axis direction, as shown by this blue arrow right here. So right now, you can see that they're going down. All we need to do is go right here to velocity, Z, and type in something like 3. Now you will see that they're emitted upwards. I'm also going to add some normal emission geometry, or emitter geometry. I'm going to put the normal up to 2, which will give it a little bit more speed. And now another thing that I'm going to do is that all the rocks are rotated the same way. So I'm going to go right here to rotation and put the random all the way up almost so that they're rotated differently. And now what we want to do is go back to frame 1. I'm going to temporarily put this plane on frame 2 or layer 2 so that we could play the animation quicker. And now if we look at this to see what happens, you can see some of the pebbles shooting up. Now we want it to be a little bit faster. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to remove this cracks vertex group, and I'm also going to remove this lattice modifier because we don't need it for this. And I'm also going to increase the Z-axis to 5. So now if I play it, you can see the rocks popping out of the cracks in the ground. The problem though is that they're going up and they're going right back through the mesh. To fix that, select the ground plane, go to the Physics tab and select Collision. Now you will see that when I play it, and if I select this and bring the size up a little bit, when I play it, the rocks or the pebbles just go up and then they fall right back through the crack. Now a couple things that we need to adjust is, first we need to put the lifetime way higher because we don't want them to have a lifetime. If they have a lifetime at 50, that means at frame 50, then they'll start disappearing. Also, the start frame, we want them to start going up when the lattice does the animation of, or the shape key of opening the cracks. So that's at frame 8 that the cracks start opening. So for this, we want the start frame to be 8 and the end frame to be 9, so that all 200 of them go up in one frame. Now if we look at this, you will see that some of them go up and bounce around and some of them fall back to the floor. Now the problem with this is that they're bouncing, so to fix the bouncing, what we need to do is select this and go to the physics tab and particle friction, the factor, put it all the way up to 1. But now that we do this, we have another problem where you see that all of them just hit the bottom of the floor and go down. To fix this, what we're going to do is we're going to move this back to frame 1, the floor, and we're going to copy it a third time, and that copy we're going to move it to frame 2. Now on this copy, we're going to make sure that we have all the middle lines selected, and this time instead of inversing it, we're just going to delete those vertices. So now you can see what I'm doing. Basically this plane will emit the pebbles through the holes right here and they won't be knocked down again. So all we have to do is right here, this is already set to collision. We need to make sure that we remove collision from this one. So go ahead and remove that. And now if I hit Alt-A to play, you can see what happens. The problem is that they go straight up neatly and just fall right back down through the cracks. To fix this, just select your emitter object, go to the particle tab and put the random to 1. Now if I play it, you will see that it's working pretty fine. The only thing is that they're bouncing now, so we need to go to here and put the particle friction to 1 and also the stickiness, put that all the way to 10. And now if we play it, everything should work fine and you can see that all the pebbles fall down. Now what we want to do is, since the flagpole is being stuck in the middle of the crack right here, we want more pebbles to be in the middle than there are off to the sides or the ends of the cracks. To do that, all we need to do is select the emitter object, which is this one that's throwing up the pebbles, and we're going to go back to the vertex groups right here, add a new one, and name it pebbles. Now what we want to do is we're going to assign values to different parts of this object. So the higher the value, the more pebbles there will be in that place, and the lower, the less. So I'm going to select the middle right here and assign the value of 1, and then hit Control-I, and all these sides right here will have a value of 0.4 and hit Assign. So now if we look at it, there will be a lot more pebbles in the red area, and the green area will have less pebbles. For that to take effect, what we need to do is go to the Particle tab here, select vertex groups. In density, select this and select pebbles. Now if we go back to the beginning, and sometimes you need to hit the X and reload this for it to work. Now you will see that there are a lot more pebbles in the center, and then off to the sides there are a lot less. You can play around with that and assign different values instead of just 2, and you could also play with the number of pebbles that there are. But for now, this is going to work just fine. So let's bring this back to frame 1. Or actually, let's leave it on a different layer because it might be fine, but sometimes the wind force right here can affect the particles or if the object has physics to it, it will blow around the particle. So it could be fine, but sometimes if you play around with it and add different settings, the wind can affect the pebbles, and we don't want it to affect the pebbles. So we're just going to leave all this on layer 2. Now we're going to shift click on the first layer so that we have both of them. And I'm just going to load this and see what it looks like now. So now let's take a look at how it is. And you can see that it looks pretty darn cool. Now the pebbles obviously are more cartoonish style because they're going up way too high right now. You can adjust the value of the velocity or the z-axis and put it lower so that it doesn't go as high. I won't do that for this tutorial for time's sake. Now you could see sometimes with the pebbles a problem that will occur is if I play the animation, you can see right now if I play it, the pebbles will jump in and out of the floor, and sometimes they will continue bouncing like this. And the way to fix that is if it continues to do that, just go over here to your emitter object and change a setting such as just change the size or something right here and bring it back down, and that will reset it. I think it's a bug within Blender, but just so you know that it does happen sometimes. It usually happens like right now. Every time, once you change the setting and put it back, it will play fine for one time, and then when you try to play it again, it acts up. So just keep in mind before doing the final render to just change a setting here, such as a size, and bring it back to where it is, and it will reset that bug. So that's pretty much all. I'm going to go through a couple more things. And those of you that want to continue, go ahead, but if you want to stop now, that's totally fine, since this tutorial is already quite lengthy. But at this point, you should know how to do a couple more things, and hopefully you've learned a couple things. I'm just going to show how to texture the flag really fast, and also how to create the backdrop. So to create the backdrop, all I did was hit Shift A, add a mesh plane, scale it up, hit Control 2 to add a subdivision surface modifier, Control R to add an edge loop there, Control R to add another one in the middle, then select these two vertices, bring it up, and bring it to right here. Hit T and hit smooth to smooth it out. Go into camera view so that you can see where it is, and hit S and X to scale it along the X-axis. So that's how you create the backdrop. If the sides are showing here, then you could just go ahead and extrude this along this way. But now for the flag, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is go back to frame 1, go to the Materials tab, and also make sure that you go to Cycles Renderer, or you can use Blender Render. Either way, I use Cycles since it's newer and better. Hit New, and now over here in the color, we're going to select this and select Image Texture. Now I'm also going to, for this, if you need to change any of the timing of the animation, the dope sheet right here is very useful, so you could just change all the keyframes right here very easily. I'm just going to close this for now, and I'm going to hit Control left arrow so that I have my UV image editor and my node editor. I'm going to make this one and change it to rendered so that I could see how it looks. I'm going to click right here on the material node, and I'm going to click open, and I'm just going to open my flag texture. And this texture, you could just go onto Google and basically type in Blender logo and just find an image such as this. So I'm going to make sure I'm in edit mode, select everything with A, and hit U, project from view. Now I'm going to go back to rendered view, and with all these vertices selected, hit S to scale it up. And there you have it. There's the flag. If it's not displaying properly, make sure that you go to hit Shift A, Input, and select Texture Coordinates, and connect UV, because we UV unwrapped it, so you need to make sure that it's using the UV coordinates. Now let's check. I'm going to hit Control right arrow to go back to this. I'm going to play it out really fast so that it plays smoothly. Let's go ahead and play this and see how it looks. You can see that the pebbles are jumping around, so I'm going to select this and just move this so that it plays normally. Now I'm going to pause it right here when the flag starts waving, and let's go ahead and hit F12 to render it. And you can see that we have a problem, and that is that our flag is completely straight. The way to fix this is to select the flag and make sure that your cloth modifier is above the subsurf modifier. So now you will see that if I just hit F12 to render right here, you will see that the cloth is showing up in the render and it's not just completely still. So now one last thing, let's go ahead and add a basic light. So Shift A, add mesh plane, move that up, go to the materials panel, add a new material and emission. Now I'm going to change this to rendered so I can see what I'm doing. Rotate this 90 degrees. I'm also going to quickly change this to GPU so that it renders faster. And now just positioning this like so, you can start to get a pretty quick lighting setup. And there you go, it's looking pretty nice now. And I'm not going to go over setting up the materials for the flag post or the rocks or any of that, because in my animation it was just very, very simple materials. It was just a mix shader with diffuse and glossy for the most part. And you could play around with all the different settings. For example, here you would probably need to make these objects right here also collision, because they aren't collision and the flag might go through them. You could go ahead and play around with the different settings for the cloth and the everything. You could play around with also the floor. You can make where the gaps open up, you can make it more circular right here or a different shape. And also the pebbles. So I leave it up to you. I hope this tutorial hasn't been too long, and I hope that you learned something. If you ever need any help or have a request for a tutorial, feel free to send me a message or leave me a comment, and I'll do my best to help or to make a tutorial to help out. Once again, hopefully it hasn't been too long. I'm not sure how long I have been recording this for, but I'm sure you learned something, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.